Hello, ho, ho, folks. My name is Reverend Dee Lifeguard. This is not my fortress of mental illness, but this is the only news that matters. America's coming up, give or take a few decades, on 400 years of being a nation. So to celebrate this year's 4th of July, I'm going to let my alter ego Santanon explain to you guys the truth about the American Revolution.
Something happened that we still feel the ripples of to this day. The year was 1776, and the event was known as the American Revolution. It started when George Washington chopped down King George's cherry tree. And then the British came over and were like, "George Washington, did you chop down the king's cherry tree?" And Washington was all, "I cannot tell a lie." And then the Redcoats called King George and told him, and then King George said, hello, put me on the phone with him. I want to hear him apologize. But Washington escaped on horseback with the help of Paul Revere and refused to apologize. And those two rode all over the American countryside yelling, "The Blimey Limeys are coming! The Blimey Limeys are coming!" And then Betsy Ross sewed a flag. They picked her up and met up with Ben Franklin and Crispus Attucks. They all kind of culturally appropriated Native American clothing and stuff and decided to go to Boston to have a tea party by throwing all of King George's tea into the Boston harbor while yelling, "Fuck!" And King George called up George Washington and was like, hello, apologize this time or this means war." And then George Washington said, "I am a general now, and I'm the president of the USA." And then Ben Franklin, Crispus Attucks, Betsy Ross, and Paul Revere all chanted, "USA! USA! USA!" And it was the first USA chant in history. And in retaliation for all that went down, King George kidnapped and killed Crispus Attucks. And you may be asking yourself, why only Crispus? Well, that's because our founding fathers loved Crispus Attucks. And also, King George was pretty racist, because only British people are racist. No one else in the world, besides British people, are racist. And that's actually a fact. Look, I found this graph. It proves it. So keep that in mind. Only British people are racist. Anyways, long story short, the Brits eventually lost and America was its own country. And King George never had another cherry tree again as part of the treaty. And eventually, way down the line, King George's descendants killed Princess Diana. But I'm getting sidetracked. That's a story for another time. Right, so America kicked the Brits' ass. The Brits' asses? Asses. And that means the Brits couldn't use Georgia as a prison anymore. Oh, yeah. Before the American Revolution, the British used Georgia as a prison.
And yeah, that's the truth behind the American Revolution. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there. God bless, and hail Santa.
The only news that matters is a production of the Children's Television Workshop. Promotional consideration provided by viewers like you. Thank you.